In a stunning development with profound regional and global implications, Iran is reportedly finalizing an arms agreement with China to procure advanced air defense missile systems, an act that symbolizes the convergence of two powers long marginalized by Western-led security orders. Although neither government has officially acknowledged the deal, defense analysts, intelligence agencies, and military think tanks have noted an unmistakable pattern of growing cooperation between Tehran and Beijing. If verified, this transfer would represent one of the most significant upgrades to Iran's military architecture in decades, particularly in the critical realm of air defense. Decoding the deal, what might Iran receive? At the center of this strategic pact is China's HQ-9 missile system, a long-range surface-to-air missile system designed to detect, track, and destroy aircraft, cruise missiles, and ballistic targets at a range of up to 200 kilometers. Modeled heavily on the Russian S-300 system but enhanced with domestic Chinese radar, software, and command-control components, the HQ-9 has evolved over several generations. The most advanced versions, such as the HQ-9B and HQ-9B, reportedly incorporate active electronically scanned array (ESA) radars and anti-stealth capabilities. These features would represent a qualitative leap for Iran, whose current arsenal includes mostly aging systems like the Russian-made S-200 and some indigenously upgraded variants that are incapable of defending against modern stealth aircraft or hypersonic threats. Iran's growing appetite for air defense modernization comes as no surprise. In recent years, Iranian nuclear, missile, and military infrastructure have come under increasing threat, not only from regional rivals like Israel but also from persistent cyber and drone operations attributed to U.S. and allied forces. The January 2020 assassination of Quds Force Commander Qasem Soleimani by an American drone near Baghdad International Airport, followed by dozens of unexplained explosions at Iranian nuclear and missile facilities, exposed glaring weaknesses in Tehran's defensive net. Since then, Iran's military doctrine has shifted to emphasize homeland defense with a strong emphasis on neutralizing aerial threats. China's calculus, arms, access, and influence. The potential missile transfer to Iran is not merely a sale, it is a strategic signal from Beijing. As the United States recalibrates its global military posture, including a drawdown from Middle Eastern conflicts, China has increasingly filled the vacuum, using economic investment, diplomatic outreach, and now military sales as tools of influence. Iran offers China a unique partner, oil-rich, ideologically anti-Western, strategically located on the Strait of Hormuz, and eager to defy Washington. Strengthening Iran's air defenses makes sense for China as it seeks to ensure the uninterrupted flow of oil from the Persian Gulf, expand the Belt and Road Initiative (BRI), and gain strategic depth against U.S. containment. China's relationship with Iran has evolved from a pragmatic oil-for-investment exchange to a multifaceted alliance touching on energy, technology, intelligence, and security. The 25-year Comprehensive Cooperation Agreement signed in 2021 set the foundation for this transformation. Though details were kept deliberately vague, the pact reportedly includes joint military exercises, training, research and development of weapons systems, and intelligence sharing. A large-scale missile transfer would be the first major manifestation of that agreement in the military realm, signaling a willingness by both sides to turn words into hardware. A regional security earthquake. The potential fallout from this deal is immense. Iran's acquisition of modern air defense capabilities could alter the military calculus across the Middle East. For Israel, a nation that relies heavily on air dominance, the deployment of HQ-9 or equivalent systems in Iran would severely complicate planning for preemptive strikes on nuclear facilities or missile silos. Israeli F-35 fighter jets, designed with stealth to evade radar, could suddenly face more capable radar systems that threaten their survivability. Gulf states, particularly Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, would see this as a direct threat. These nations, which have long depended on U.S. Patriot and THAAD systems, may now demand upgraded systems or even offensive platforms to deter Iran. The already delicate balance of deterrence in the Gulf region could shift toward a new arms race, with nations rapidly procuring both defensive and offensive weapons to maintain their edge. The United States, too, finds itself in a strategic quandary. A missile-armed Iran with the backing of China represents a more formidable adversary, not just militarily but diplomatically. Sanctions, once considered the cornerstone of Washington's Iran containment policy, may now lose their bite if China provides Iran with weapons, technology, and economic alternatives. Moreover, the U.S. Navy's operations in the Strait of Hormuz, through which 20% of the world's oil flows, would become riskier if Tehran believes it can credibly target American aircraft with advanced SAMs. Iran's new doctrine, from asymmetry to conventional strength. Iran's security doctrine has long relied on asymmetric warfare, using proxy militias, low-cost drones, ballistic missile barrages, and cyber attacks to compensate for conventional military inferiority. However, the possible introduction of Chinese air defense systems marks a departure from that doctrine. It reflects a belief among Iran's leadership, particularly the IRGC High Command, that Tehran can, with the help of allies like China and Russia, build a deterrent force rooted not just in ideology but in technologically advanced warfighting capability. This development also coincides with Tehran's growing efforts to expand military ties with other powers beyond the West. Iran recently held joint naval drills with China and Russia in the Gulf of Oman, emphasizing maritime security cooperation. It has also opened military talks with Venezuela and North Korea, while deepening defense research links with Syria. These moves suggest a deliberate policy of building a multilateral anti-Western military coalition, where Iran positions itself as a hub of resistance and a gateway between the Eastern powers and the Arab Islamic world. Global implications and the breakdown of the unipolar order. If this missile deal materializes, it will serve as yet another indicator that the unipolar, US-led international order is fragmenting. The idea that sanctioned nations could be isolated and coerced into compliance is rapidly losing credibility in an era where China and Russia can provide diplomatic cover, economic partnerships, and now military systems. The global arms trade itself is evolving, from Western-dominated procurement alliances like NATO to a new bloc where authoritarian regimes support one another to bypass embargoes and challenge global norms. The consequences for international arms control and non-proliferation regimes are deeply troubling. The Missile Technology Control Regime (MTCR), the Wassenaar Arrangement, and various United Nations mechanisms depend on major powers honoring a shared sense of responsibility. China's willingness to arm Iran, even indirectly, undermines these frameworks and makes future consensus more elusive. Moreover, it complicates ongoing international negotiations, including attempts by the International Atomic Energy Agency (IAEA) to re-establish monitoring protocols in Iran. A look ahead. What happens next? While the delivery of the missile systems has yet to be confirmed by independent sources, there is growing speculation that satellite imagery, intercepted communications, or defense budget leaks may soon offer irrefutable evidence. Iran has already upgraded several radar installations across its western and southern flanks, possibly in anticipation of integrating new systems. Experts also point to recent statements by Iranian defense officials suggesting soon-to-be-seen surprises in their military posture. If and when the systems arrive, Tehran will likely conduct a highly publicized demonstration or parade to showcase them, sending a message to domestic audiences, adversaries, and allies alike. The symbolism will be unmistakable. Iran, despite decades of isolation, has acquired 21st-century defense tools, not from Moscow or Pyongyang, but from the world's rising superpower, China. For the world, this will not be a distant regional affair. It will be a case study in the limits of sanctions, the resilience of authoritarian diplomacy, and the evolving nature of warfare in a divided global order. The old tools of containment may no longer be sufficient. The emergence of Iran as a technologically armed, politically emboldened, and strategically backed state under China's wing could usher in a new phase of global competition, where battle lines are drawn not just in Ukraine or the South China Sea, but also across the skies of the Persian Gulf.